আপনারা দেখছেন একুশে টেলিভিশন।
Hello dear viewers, welcome you to Watch the Diplomats. The Diplomats is a kind of program where we talk about diplomacy, we talk about trade, we talk about tourism, we talk about culture and different bilateral relations. So today we have invited the Ambassador of Spain. Hello Ambassador, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Very welcome to the Diplomats program. So Ambassador, so how are you here in Bangladesh?
Well, in first place, let me thank Kushi Television for inviting me to this program and for giving me this occasion to talk to the Bangladeshi public about our mutual relations. I am very well in Bangladesh.
Yes.
It is now in my fourth year in this country.
For 4 years in Bangladesh.
In Bangladesh.
Fourth year, okay, great.
And I would say that the best part of Bangladesh is the people and how welcoming are the people with the foreigners. I have felt always at home here in Bangladesh.
So you love Bangladeshi people?
Very much.
Thank you so much. Well, Ambassador, before Bangladesh, which other countries you have served?
I started my career in Africa, in Central Africa, in Gabon. Then I was for a time in Madrid, and after I was in Brussels in European Union Affairs. I have been many years with European Union Affairs. And I have been also in Paris, in France, and in Damascus, in Syria. So this is one of my, this is my late post in this career, but I have a previous rich career in diplomacy.
So well, Ambassador, you have got long career.
Yeah.
And what is the difference you find in Bangladesh?
Well, first of all, if I compare Bangladesh with many other countries I have known, and developing countries, to be more precise, it is difficult to find countries that are as dynamic as Bangladesh.
So, well, Ambassador, diplomacy is one of the key elements. So, if you could tell something about the diplomatic relation between Bangladesh and Spain in particular.
Our relations are very good. For example, Bangladesh has just voted for Spain in the elections for the Security Council in United Nations. We are very grateful for Bangladesh, and this demonstrates that we have an intense and very friendly diplomatic relationship. Apart from the diplomatic relationship and the friendship of the two governments, I would say that we have a very good economic relation with Bangladesh. Our companies are here.
Yeah.
Many of our companies are here working in the garment sector. We have big multinationals like Inditex, Zara shops. We have Mango. We have other big brands, and all they have come to buy in Bangladesh, and they are growing. The second part in which we have very powerful companies is infrastructure. Many of our companies are doing power plants here in Bangladesh.
Great.
And of course, we have an important trade relationship.
Trade relation. Mm-hmm. This is one of the very huge bonds nowadays. The present world, trade diplomacy is one of the very strong diplomacy, because without trade, we cannot sustain. The economic power is a huge power. Yeah. So could you tell in particular the trade relationship between Bangladesh and Spain for the viewers? Yes.
Well, first of all, I would say that from the point of view of figures, it is important. Bangladesh is exporting to Spain every year $1.3 billion.
1.3 billion
euros. In dollars will be 1.6.
Euros, okay.
So Spain is not exporting so much. It's exporting very little. I would say $70 million. That means that you are exporting 20 times more to Spain than Spain to Bangladesh.
Yes.
So it is also a little bit unbalanced in your favor.
Imbalance, yes.
It is logical because you are very dynamic in garments, and
Yes.
it is our companies which are buying here in Bangladesh to sell in Spain. So I try also to argue in front of my counterparts of the Bangladeshi government that we would like the Bangladeshi government to open a little bit more the customs so that we can export a little bit more to Bangladesh and try to balance a little bit. I wouldn't say to balance completely, this is impossible, but if instead of 1 to 20 could be, you know, past 1 to 10, we will be very happy.
Yeah, true. We hope the near future, I mean, it will coming down a little bit. You know. And trade balance is pretty much important for a particular relationship. That is very true. But as you said, Bangladesh, we are exporting garment to your country in particular. So did you visit a few garments factory here in Dhaka?
I have visited many garment factories, some garment factories. In particular, I was last week in a garment factory in one EPZ. And I was, you know, very surprised because this factory had the highest standard of quality. It could
highest
have been,
standard of quality.
could
Thank
have
you
been
so
any
much.
part of the world. Could have been in the United States, in Europe, any part. And in this sense, I think that it is true that there are factories in Bangladesh which need improvements. But also you have a bunch of factories, a group of factories that are at the highest level in the world.
Another thing, you know, Ambassador, the cultural diplomacy, the cultural huge bond, you know. If you could tell something about the cultural exchange program between Bangladesh and Spain for our viewers.
Well, first of all, let me say you that the economic relations are much stronger than the cultural ones for the time being. It is true that we live in a globalized world.
Correct.
And that if you read the Bangladeshi newspaper, you will find news about the Spanish football and Spanish events as frequently as you can find, I would say, even in Spain or in many newspapers of the world. So nowadays people know about the culture without necessarily the embassies doing activities. They go to internet, and I would say that in Bangladesh people are very outward looking. So I find a lot of young people who really have a lot of knowledge about the Spanish culture. Apart from this, there is a very interesting initiative that is funded by the company Inditex. And this initiative is a cultural institute for languages in the Dhaka University.
Yeah, Dhaka University.
So this Institute for Languages has 6 professors from 2 Spanish universities, and they have currently 350 pupils who learn Spanish every year, and also they teach, they give Spanish lessons to Bangladeshi diplomats. So this is our, I would say, best or our more important initiative here in Bangladesh. And as I tell you, it's not funded by the state; it's funded by the company, by Inditex. Apart from this, the embassy tries to promote some cultural activities. For example, this year and previous years, we have organized a food festival and also flamenco festival, this music we have in Spain.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. So with this, can you take a look about the cultural beauty of Spain in this screen?
Spain. The Iberian. Al-Andalus.
a country halfway between Africa and Europe. Spain is everyone who has come and who has stayed. It is the land of prehistoric man. It is the Roman province. Spain is Visigothic, Jewish and Muslim, Mediterranean and Atlantic. An enormous and modern. The Middle Ages were a complex time in Spain's history, giving rise to a necessary coexistence of three major cultures.
Well, Ambassador, we have seen the scenic beauty in Spain is so wonderful. And right, Ambassador, so with this we'd like to take a short break. Huh? Dear viewers, with this we'd like to take a short break. Coming back soon. Hello dear viewers, so again welcome to Watch the Diplomats. We are talking to the Ambassador of Spain about culture. Well, Ambassador, as you said, culture is a huge bond between the nation, and as you said, the relationship between Bangla culture and the Spanish culture, language is huge important in terms of communication, and many Bangladeshi people, they are interested to learn Spanish language, and you know, the Spanish language and Bangla language, there is a little bit similarity. So if you could try to learn Bangla, I mean, after coming here in Dhaka.
I took, when I arrived, I took some lessons.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful language. You know, regrettably, I am a very busy person and it's difficult for me.
Yeah.
And it is true also that the Bangladeshi people, many Bangladeshi people speak very good English.
Yeah.
You have excellent newspapers in English,
Yeah.
televisions in English. So in the end, it is true that here you can survive very well if you speak English.
Excellent. So can you say 1, 2 Bangla words? Like, can you remember? Like, like, apni kemon achen?
Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
Like in Spanish, ¿cómo estás?
Sí.
Buenos gracias.
¿Cómo achen?
¿Cómo achen? Right.
When you come to my house, I will be able to say you a few
wonderful. That will be wonderful, Ambassador. We'll talk about it in your house. Thank you so much, Ambassador. As you said, that culture is a huge bond, so we must talk about it. So, do you watch Bangladeshi any cultural program or anything? Do you watch?
Well, I watch regularly the Bangladeshi television. Of course, I watch Ekushi television. Watch the news every day. I like very much your you know, cultural expressions, like for example dancing, music.
This is a universal language.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. Also, you have a very lively scene in Dhaka. For example, you have very good painters. Regularly, I go to see the galleries in Damondi and also in Gulsham, and I try to keep you know, informed and to keep you know, a little bit to follow the cultural scene in Dhaka. That is a very rich one.
True, Ambassador. Thank you so much. Another thing, you know, we call it education is the backbone of a nation.
Yeah.
So education is hugely important for any particular nation. So if you could tell something about many young Bangladeshi, they would like to study in Spain, and if you could tell something about the educational exchange program.
Yeah. Well, you know, up to now, most of the Bangladeshis, perhaps they are very fluent in English.
Yeah.
They go to either British or United States universities when they can go out. But there is a very, very important program in the European Union. It is called Erasmus Mundi.
Okay.
And this is a program for exchange of students between Bangladesh and all parts of the world and Europe.
Yeah.
Many of these students come to Spain, so I would say this is the main program for students exchange. We have also some grants we give to some students to come to Spain to study every year. This is for the whole of the world, and sometimes they are Bangladeshi. You know. I think that we have had Bangladeshi students in our engineering schools, also in our languages school in Spain. So there is a certain flow of students that come to Spain to study. You know? But also you must think that Spanish is a language that is very widely spoken in the United States and also in Latin America. You have huge countries like, for example, Mexico or Argentina, and I think they are of interest also to Bangladesh.
True, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Another thing, we call it tourism, because people would like to visit places, and so tourism is again very, very important elements of human life, because we would like to travel this. So can you tell us the tourism opportunities in Spain?
Well, you know, first of all, Spain is a country very well prepared for tourism. In fact, every year 60 million people, 60 million tourists visit Spain. We are the second in the world. And you have two kinds of tourism activities in Spain. One is related to the beaches and the sun.
Okay.
But there's also a great deal of people who come from cultural reasons. I think that for the Bangladeshi people, it would be of a special interest to visit I would say the Muslim Spain. Spain was a Muslim country for 800 years. So more or less the same as Bangladesh, you know.
Yeah.
We have a lot of architecture still.
Yeah.
Many cities, especially in the south of Spain.
True.
We call it, you know, the Muslim Spain was called Al-Andalus.
Al-Andalus.
And then you are going to find the wonderful mosque of Cordoba. You are going to find a wonderful Muslim palace in Granada.
Yeah.
You are going to find all this kind of architecture that it will be so close to the Bangladeshi culture and religion, and you will feel very close if you come to see all these monuments.
Thank you so much. And you can invite more and more, because you have Cox's Bazar, you have Kuakata, sea beach, the longest sea beach, Cox's Bazar. I'm sure that you know it. So many European people also coming to visit there. So Ambassador, with this, can you take a look on the screen, the tourism beauty in Spain? Well, the screen, the tourism beauty. Well, ambassadors, we have seen wonderful beauty in tourism in Spain. So, did you visit out of Dhaka to see?
Yes, I have traveled all around Bangladesh, I would say. Well, you know, I have been, of course, in Cox's Bazar. I have been in Chittagong several times.
Chittagong, yeah.
I have been in Comilla. I have been in Makali. I have been in Silet. I have been in Borichel.
Oh, many places.
In Kulna, in Bola. So when I have the occasion, I try to visit and see Bangladesh. It's a very beautiful country.
So we have talked so many things. We have talked tourism, culture, education, diplomacy, many things we talk about. Now let me ask you one, being an ambassador of a European country, in Bangladesh, you know, we have as many as 50-60% people are young here in Bangladesh. So that is a great asset for the country. So do you have any special message for the young people of Bangladesh?
Well, I think you know that young people here are very active and don't need so much advice, you know. But what I would try to say is that they should keep as they are.
Sure.
You know, as very active. It's very important to be very open to the world, and to try to keep in spirit of learning and from the others. I think that is something that is a virtue of the Bangladeshi young people. The Bangladeshi young people are not close to their own country. They are very, you know, very patriots. They like their nation, but at the same time, they like to know, to travel, and to meet foreign people. And I would try to say that because they are so naturally good workers, that spiritually they try to keep open and to keep a window open to the rest of the world.
Yeah, true.
Thank you.
True. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you.
So, well, Ambassador, with this, we'd like to take a short break. Viewers, with this, we'd like to short break. Coming back soon. Hello dear viewers, again you welcome to Watch the Diplomats. We are talking to the Ambassador of Spain. Well, Ambassador, another thing we know, the power is one of the important for every country, power generation. And we know that Spain is helping Bangladesh in terms of power generation. So if you could tell something about the power generation.
Yes, you know, the Bangladeshi government is doing a great effort to improve the power provision here in Bangladesh. They have launched a number of power plants, very modern power plants, and this has opened the door to our companies. We have many companies specialized in infrastructure, and they are building here power plants. They have done a power plant in Kulna. They are doing now two power plants of 450 megawatts each in Ashungan. They are doing a power plant in Sidirgan. I hope in no such a long time will start a new power plant in Bibiana. And so I think that and probably, you know, they are going also to try and help Bangladesh to build the new generation of power plants that will be based on coal. So up to now, our companies are building power plants up to 2,000 megawatts in the whole country. 2,000 megawatts. So that means more or less, I would say, almost 25% of the whole capacity that you have in this moment here in Bangladesh. And I am very proud to say that our companies are here. They work with Bangladeshi companies. They come here to work not alone, but in partnership with Bangladeshi companies. And this is creating a lot of, you know, technology sharing. Our companies are learning a lot from Bangladesh because your conditions here are very different from Spain. And for example, how to work in the monsoon time is something that our companies don't know how. Is the Bangladeshi companies who teach them how they have to manage. So I think that this has created a flow of relations that is very interesting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ambassador. As you said, that power generation is hugely important for development of any particular country. And you know, Spain is contributing in terms of development of Bangladesh. So if you could tell something about the development program you have in Bangladesh.
We are a new country in Bangladesh. The embassy opened here 6 years ago. We have focused a lot of our traditional development cooperation in Latin America. There are countries that are very close to us, and also North Africa. So we don't have so much experience in this part of the world. However, we started to do some interesting projects in Bangladesh.
Okay.
We have NGOs who have come here and done projects, mainly in the field of gender support to women. That is very, very close to our hearts. We admire a lot the Bangladeshi women. The second area, the field in which we are working, is the building of small infrastructure in some countryside areas. We have a very important project that is about $30 million. This is our contribution. The project is even bigger in the Haur area. So in this Haur area, what we are trying to do is through the Bangladeshi government, we are just helping financially, but it is the Bangladeshi government, the Ministry of Local Development, who is developing these roads and small infrastructure to help the people who are living in these hamlets that get isolated when the monsoon comes. Apart from this, we have worked, for example, with the German Development Cooperation. We have a big project for improving the condition of people within the jails.
Correct.
We have also worked with the United Nations. With United Nations, we have done an interesting project to prevent violence against women, and another one about nutrition, improving nutrition in Bangladesh.
Nutrition, yes.
So we have touched several
many different
issues, and we try to work with the Bangladesh government, with the United Nations. Always try to do it with other people who know better the conditions in the country than us, who are a country that is relatively new here in Bangladesh.
True. Thank you so much, Ambassador. As your development partner, we believe that you are trying to do so much for the development of the country. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Another issue is, like many Bangladeshi, they would like to visit Spain. So there is a different kind of visa. So if you could tell something for our viewers for their better understanding.
For the viewers, for to understand visa, well, we have a visa policy. In Spain, there are about 20,000 Bangladeshi people living already. These people own restaurants, they have their small businesses. They are very well integrated in our community. They are friends and they work very well in Spain. Apart from this, of course, we receive tourists from Bangladesh, and many people who come from Bangladesh for business purposes. I would, if there is people in Bangladesh who, for example, are thinking in, doing a cultural visit in Europe, or thinking in prolonging their studies, I would like to tell them that they should come to Spain, and we'll be very glad to welcome them in our country.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Another thing, at the end of the day, we have to go back to your family. So if you could tell something about your family for our viewers.
Well, I have I am a married man. I have been married already for 28 years. My wife is with me here in Bangladesh. I hope that when you come...
She's working in ICDDRB.
She's working in ICDDRB, and she's doing a great job there, helping with the communication policy of this institute. I have also two daughters. They are now in university in Europe, but one of my daughters has been living with me here 2 years, attending a school here in Dhaka, in Bangladesh.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
So, Ambassador, one question, you are living here for a few years, and you have seen Bangladesh in different way. So, do you have any suggestions to the area which we can develop more?
Well, I think yes. I think Bangladesh has been very successful in some issues. For example, you have a very rich and successful agriculture, and you have a great garments industry. I think that Bangladesh has now a big challenge to improve and to enlarge the capacity of export and the competitiveness to other areas. You cannot live all your life about garments. Garments is a step, but you have to think in the next steps. So I would suggest to Bangladesh that they think in opening the economy more, in terms of not now, but when they are a middle-income country, that this is just, you know, will
True.
be in 4 or 5 years, that they think in terms of free trade, associate themselves to these great free trade areas that are, you know, coming now into being in Southeast Asia, in Asia.
Yeah.
You have seen China, they have signed up with many countries in Asia and with the United States to a big free trade area, also to free trade with Europe.
True.
I think that the next challenge for Bangladesh, you know, is
Okay.
going beyond this development of the garments to a very
Correct.
rich industrial economy.
Well, Ambassador, thank you so much. One thing we left that is very close to our heart, to both the nation, like sports.
Yeah.
So if you could tell something about the sports.
Well, you know, I'm very, for me, the best link between Bangladesh and Spain
Yeah.
are sports.
Correct.
Economy is important, but if you
Correct.
go to the people in the street,
Yeah.
when I go to have a coffee or a tea in the street, everybody, they know I'm Spanish, they will talk me about the Spanish football.
Football.
They know very much about the
Excellent.
football.
Yes,
no?
absolutely.
So I think that here we have a lot of space to develop our relations. You know that, for example, that in India there has been the creation now of a new football league, and that some Spanish teams like Atlético de Madrid from my city
Yeah.
have promoted a club in India. It's Atlético Kolkata. I think that what I would love is to see that in Bangladesh there's a partnership between Bangladeshi football clubs and
Absolutely.
Spanish clubs, and you create also an international league here.
It is.
I think that would be an excellent idea for our two countries in the future.
Ambassador, the another thing is, Ambassador, have you tested the Bangladeshi foods as well?
Yes, of course. I like very much the Bangladeshi food. It's different from our food in some ways. It is more spicy, but there are also some dishes that are very similar. For
Yeah.
example, Spanish people, like Bangladeshi people, are fish eaters. We love fish.
Fish eater.
And
yeah.
I think that in this we are different from many other countries in the world. We love fish, shrimps, fish, you know.
Yeah.
This is something that is very frequent in our diet. Also, for example, we like very much rice. We have the
Rice.
paella that is very close to the biryani, very
Oh
similar.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So you can find many similarities, no?
So-
And of course, I like very much Bangladeshi food. I eat when I can, and I invite it so often, and I have this occasion to try your food. And I hope that
Excellent.
when I come back to Spain, as there are so many Bangladeshi restaurants there, I will be able to keep eating your food in my own country.
With this nice note, Ambassador, we'd like to conclude our session for today. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ambassador, for coming to
Thank you.
Equity TV studio.
Thank you very
so
much. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.